podcast starts.
Hi everyone, and merry Boxing Day bank holiday that's not actually Boxing Day to you. TD Velasquez here, although as always, with you I'll answer to the name Dan. Yes, sorry this episode has come out late, but I should have realised that some delay was inevitable given that Friday last week was also Christmas Day. On Christmas Day I spent most of the day in the kitchen, and on Boxing Day I did too somehow, even though I was only making a pie containing the previous day's leftovers. The upshot, though, is that it gave me time to think and generate a little more content than you would have received had the episode dropped on time. This isn't, by any means, going to be a standard episode of the podcast. In a little while you'll be hearing from Kirsty, Stella, Ian, a little from Howard, and even some special new guests. But you're going to have to indulge us. In the spirit of the season, and probably because we're a bit pleased with ourselves for clocking up 44 episodes, this episode is a bit of an ease-up, with a horror trivia quiz courtesy of Ian, some guest appearances by previously off-mic friends of the show, and copious drinking and, well, swearing. It may be a bit raucous and rambling, but hopefully it will also be fun and the quiz will test your knowledge. There are even 2 listeners-only questions, giving you opportunities to email in your answers and win exclusive prizes. So listen out for those. There'll be details of where to email in the show notes and on our website. However, some of our conversation during the quiz gave me pause for thought about the relationship between horror and Christmas time. I've decided to record some of those thoughts here, so you are going to get a little bit of content at the start of the episode before the party crashes the podcast. In my mind, for as long as I can remember, Christmas time has always been a natural time for horror. Perhaps not everyone shares this view. As our lovely special guest Sven points out during the quiz, maybe the reason I feel like this is because for me, any time is a natural time for horror. That's true actually, but even so, I think that horror is an essential, in fact, defining element of the season of good cheer. December 25th is the beginning of winter. The nights are at their longest and coldest, an atmosphere more conducive, even than Halloween, to mysterious imaginings and icy chills. Most of the traditions and imagery of the modern Western Christmas date back, of course, to Charles Dickens's 1843 novella, A Christmas Carol, which is, as proclaimed on the title page, a ghost story of Christmas, and which, incidentally, is pretty much my favourite story of all time, a story so good that it is immune to an infinity of retellings. Every year I read, watch, or listen to at least one version of it, and I draw the line nowhere, not even at the TV movie A Carol Christmas, with Tori Spelling and William Shatner. On Christmas Eve, old miser Ebenezer Scrooge is taught the error of his ways by way of 4 ghostly visitations, 2 of which are terrifying. Dickens's story, designed to revive and consolidate the European Christmas traditions which had at that point fallen into disuse, is a chocolate box full of warm-hearted pleasures which I'm sure we can all quote. Decrease the surplus population. There's more of gravy than of grave about you. Bob Cratchit, old Fezziwig, God bless us every one, the jovial ghost of Christmas past. Scrooge's observation of Tiny Tim that he is a remarkable child. You boy, what's today? Scrooge's ultimate resolution to live in the past, present and future, and to keep Christmas all year round. And of course the classic line, oh look, there's a gorilla climbing up that big building. Admittedly, that was only in Scrooged. But without the foreboding appearance of Marley's ghost, he of the unattached jaw and accompanying chorus of doomed souls, to set Scrooge on his journey to redemption, and if the ghost of Christmas yet to come wasn't a baleful enough presence to finally convince Scrooge that he is genuinely staring into the abyss, all these other pleasures would be meaningless. A Christmas Carol isn't a horror story, but if you take the horror out of it, it falls apart. And I think the same is true of Christmas time itself. Christmas is a time of extremes. Loneliness and heartbreak feel worse than they do at other times of year. Those of us lucky enough to be surrounded by loved ones are encouraged by the prevailing atmosphere not only to treasure our friends and families even more keenly than usual, but to actively demonstrate our love through acts of generosity, the commission of which can quickly tumble from the life-affirming to the stressful and nightmarish if you don't have quite enough money or time to get all the details right. An ordinarily dull day of British weather can suddenly seem crushingly disappointing if you were hoping for a magical snowfall offering just the right consistency for sledging and building snowmen. On the other hand, an overnight freeze of too severe winter weather can kill your car or turn a walk to the corner shop into an obstacle course. And the inescapable onslaught of Christmas shopping, Christmas music, Christmas food, Christmas parties, mediocre Christmas specials on TV, and moralistic Christmas sermonising from the Queen's speech to, I suppose, bits of broadcasting like the podcast you are listening to right now, tends to move from refreshing at first to an enervating flood of saccharine overindulgence after a while. For me, an icy blast of horror is perfect for cutting through this melange and refreshing the palate in order to take renewed pleasure in the genuine magic of Christmas. As Sven suggested, perhaps I am unique in this. I think I've already described on this podcast how a few years ago I slunk away alone after a particularly indulgent family Christmas dinner to watch Neil Marshall's The Descent on video and found its bone-freezing terror to be exactly what I needed after too much Christmas pudding, and I haven't found anyone else who tells a similar story. But I do think there is evidence that a succession of Christmas TV schedulers would have agreed with me, and of course such people have been centrally responsible for the development of whatever it is that passes from my brain. I'm not just talking about British TV's 50-year on-off tradition of the ghost story for Christmas. I'm talking about the films. The Christmas fortnight used to be crammed with horror, offering mini-seasons of Universal, Val Lewton or Hammer films as if the BBC and Channel 4 had become convinced that every night was Friday. This still goes on to some extent. You can see an echo of it in the kind of films available for streaming over Christmas on BritBox, Amazon Prime and BBC iPlayer. A burst of horror in the Christmas schedule always works. If it's an old-fashioned, redemptive horror film with a happy ending, then it'll send you to bed with the glow of normality restored and all being right with the world, the promise of Christmas fulfilled. If it's a more modern piece, shot through with a savage bleakness, then it'll reinvigorate your need for Christmas time's cosy cheesiness, sending you in search of a mince pie, a glass of brandy and a blast of mud on your smart speaker. And both sides of the equation benefit from the contrast. I'm convinced that it's this kind of thinking which led to the telling of ghostly tales at Christmas becoming a tradition in the first place, a tradition which Dickens would then draw upon so deliberately. On top of that, I find that horror, especially Gothic horror, is aesthetically aligned with the iconography of Christmas, which is a posh way of saying that horror looks better with snow. Of course, just about anything is made more beautiful by a sympathetic snowfall, but this is especially true of Gothic architecture. All those turrets, spires, gargoyles and ornate detailing seem designed to poke through drifted snow like Christmas trees, the outer shapes made more forbidding, and yet the idea of the interiors made more enticing by the surrounding blizzard. While, of course, the sight of blood is never more vivid than when it's leaking into snow. What I'm saying is, horror and Christmas are a perfect match. In fact, I'm tempted to declare that all horror films would be improved if shifted to a Christmas setting. I'm only half joking. After all, horror stories tend to be about a clash between good and evil, and if you want to emphasise that contrast all the more starkly, why not set the story smack in the middle of the season of goodwill, when everyone's relationships are at their most tender and the emotional stakes are at their highest? This is, after all, why Jaws the Revenge is the best Jaws film. Don't tell me I'm alone in that as well. However, I'm not completely insane, and I do concede that you do have to maintain a sense of balance somewhere. I don't think every Christmas film would be improved if turned into a horror film. Die Hard would not be better if Hans Gruber were a zombie. What am I saying? Of course it would. Right, I'm being silly now, which means it's time to stop. So, those are my thoughts on Christmas and horror. I wonder if you agree with anything I've said. Maybe if you're going to email in answers to our listener quiz questions, you could include some of your thoughts in response, and if we're all still here next Christmas, they could inform how we approach the next Yuletide episode. So in a minute, we'll move on to the main feature of this episode, our Christmas quiz on Zoom with Ian, Kirsty, Stella, and special guests. You'll have to forgive us again, not just for the booziness, but because the line to our lovely guest Sven was frustratingly quieter than everyone else's, and because of the number of voices on the call, his contributions are occasionally cut out. And although I've tried to boost the audio, I haven't been able to entirely save it. I hope this doesn't entirely ruin the listenability of this episode. However, before that, our beloved, if frustratingly occasional co-host, Howard, called me on the phone to send his own Christmas message. Here it is.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, listeners. And a Merry Christmas to Ian and Kirsty and Stella. Enjoy the festive season. I certainly will be. I will be eating a lot of Quality Street and drinking a lot of alcohol and watching The Heroes of Telemark again and Where Eagles Dare again. And maybe this time I'll understand what's going on. I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I mean, I don't know with Brexit on the horizon whether that's possible. But, yes, enjoy yourselves. We've had a rough year. We've had this terrible year. So eat, drink, and be merry. And enjoy the festive season. Sing some carols. It's all going a bit James Mason there.
Yes, you do that, Howard.
God rest you, merry gentlemen. Let nothing be dismay. No, just go out and enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. Have a laugh,
We hope you'll be able to come back onto the podcast.
We will work out a way next year when I can come and join you. We'll find something out. We'll find a way. A way will be found. There's always an answer.
If you only dig deep enough. Yeah, my dad said those were wise words from Peter Cushing.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You heard him, listeners. Howard urged us to eat, drink, and be merry. Warning, we may have taken that too much to heart. Here's the quiz. Hello, everybody. And if this is going out on the day that it is intended to go out on, Merry Christmas! This is the And Now the Podcast Starts Christmas episode. I normally do a big spiel at the start of the episode, but I'm not going to do for two reasons. One, because I'm already a little bit drunk, as you might be able to tell, and two, because it's not really necessary. All you need to know is this isn't going to be really a regular episode. We're just going to have some fun chats and a quiz, and we've got some special guests. So to introduce everybody, I am Dan, as you can call me Dan as always, but I'm also known as TD Velasquez, and I am joined by my usual wonderful co-hosts. First of all,
Kirsty Warrow in Shropshire.
And second of all,
Stella Gaynor in Manchester.
And finally, the person who's going to be our quiz master for tonight,
Ian Winterton in Cheshire.
And then we come to our very special extra special new guests who've never been on the podcast before. First of all, we have Kelly, who is Ian's wife. Hello, Kelly.
Hello.
And
I'm already.
Is that because you watched Host?
Yeah.
Doing a quiz, not a seance.
oh dear, yes.
Well, that's what we should have done.
Oh no. Well, you know what? I did kind of think of asking everybody, when in your life have you ever felt like you were in a horror movie? And Kelly, you can say right now.
Yeah.
If there's a lovely conversation, I do have a Ouija board upstairs, so we can always fall back if we need to.
I'll just say, Stella, it's good to know that we have options. Our second special guest is somebody who's been helping the podcast out behind the scenes from the very first episode and is a very welcome eventual addition to the show. It is Kirsty's husband, Sven. Hello, Sven.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here.
It's a great pleasure that you are here, Sven. And then we have our absolute final special and perhaps specialist guest, whose name is Elliott. Hello, Elliott.
You need to speak. Say hello.
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 On a podcast, you have to make lots of noise, which you usually do. And now he's doing a silent dance.
That's excellent radio. That's
important,
really
right?
good.
Quality podcast.
Luckily, we probably
We're here
are
to talk
recording.
about horror and scary things. What's your favourite scary thing on TV or DVD? What's your favourite scary thing? What about Doctor Who's scary sometimes? What really scared you the other day? At points.
A silence.
A silence.
Ah,
They really scared you, didn't they? You had to stop watching it.
well, luckily I have a clip of the silence. Here it is. Yes, they're very frightening. Right. And to make it clear to the listener, this is our little Christmas party as such, and I think we've all got a little bit of drink and cake to hand. What's everybody got? I'm the only one who's not drinking this second, so I will say I've got sherry, which is my second sherry of the day. Cheers, everybody.
Up your bum.
Cheers, gin.
Stella, what have you got?
I've got a White Russian made with oat milk rather than cow's milk, and it's delicious.
Oh, that's superb.
You have me
I think Kelly used to live in Russia, and I think she can probably say most Russians would probably scoff at the idea of oat milk. I would say.
Putting vodka in a different drink. But,
Well, that is true, yeah.
but I'm not Russian, so I agree with your choice.
Thank you very much. She'll continue to drink it.
So do I. Sometimes I order White Russians just to enjoy
That
the
noise is
baffled
Elliot now doing an impression of the silence.
All right, it's very good.
Oh.
It's a very visually good impression. It's quite frightening.
And what else is scary?
A squeeze monster.
A squeeze monster, whatever that is.
What's a squeeze monster?
I don't know. He's squeezing his face. Not a weeping angel.
Yeah, they are scary.
They're scary.
Ian, as a callback to a previous episode, can we get Elliot to say perfectly splendid?
Elliot, could you say the words perfectly splendid?
Perfectly splendid.
Just for Stella
Oh,
from Bly Manor. Yeah. It was so irritating. She's also, as I think we've said,
Perfectly splendid.
she's also the voice of Peppa Pig. That's
Yeah, so that was technically an audition for Peppa Pig, wasn't it?
perfectly splendid.
Elliot, just say
Okay.
every sentence is perfectly splendid.
Every sentence is perfectly splendid.
I mean,
Could you say-
That's a signage, I think.
Could
Or
you say-
signing, even.
Elliot, could you say the sow is mine?
Oh,
oh dear.
well, we are a horror podcast. We had to get there. I did think about downloading some pod-safe Christmassy music that we could play tinklingly in the background for this episode, but then I realised horror fans don't listen to a horror podcast to listen to Christmas music, even at this time of year. So,
No.
Sven and Kirsty. Oh,
Go back and watch TV now.
are we losing Elliot?
Be on the whole podcast. No, it'll get very boring soon.
Ah,
Go back to the-
it's good. It's a really good job I didn't get that music. Goodbye, Elliot. Lovely to see you. Have
I'll
fun.
have to play PRS on that now.
Kirsty and Sven, may I ask you what you're drinking?
Do you want the long answer or the short answer?
Oh, the long answer, please.
Okay, so it's freshly brewed Monsoon Malabar, brewed through a V60 dripper, using kind of a quick and dirty James Hoffman method. With a shot of Mr. Black's alcoholic cold brew coffee. And it's
Fantastic.
I stirred my cocktail with a pen.
So this is the Gourmet Cocktail Makers podcast.
Yeah.
And we are covering every spectrum from the true coffee makers to the pen stirrers of the listeners. That's great. And Ian and Kelly, what have you got?
Well, I'm drinking gin and tonic from a tin.
Nice.
Oh, right.
You can't be trusted to buy bottles of the stuff.
No, it's classy, and you can take it on a train.
And you definitely
Gin and a
Oh,
tin, train ones. Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, yeah, my mum likes those.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Because
Stella, did you just call them the train ones?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they are. I understand.
Yeah.
I always buy a couple when I go on a train.
Yeah.
But also they're handy for the handbag. You can just whip them out in a car park.
Yeah. You can even hide them up your
You can
sleeve
take them to
and throw
work,
somewhere
have them
where you're not
in the bathroom, and nobody knows.
It's like a emergency.
But mine's diet, so watching my figure.
Yeah.
Good thinking. So, Ian, did you say what you're on?
Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm just drinking.
Anything will do.
Like Stuart Lee says, I'm just drinking one of those ales that you drink when you're old, like Catamites Regret.
Oh, dear
And
heavens.
I'm drinking Black Sheep.
Ah, well,
I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
good for you. And I have a mince pie to hand.
Yeah. It's whatever the 4 for £6 from Morrison's are. And you grab later.
Not sponsored.
Excellent deal.
Not sponsored.
So just to reassure the listeners, we are going to have something vaguely resembling content in this episode, but only vaguely. We're just going to have a nice horror trivia quiz. It's going to test our mettle as people who are knowledgeable about horror, but also there's going to be a question coming up which is for the listeners only to answer.
2 questions, in fact.
2 questions. Shall we tell them that about what they might win if they try and answer these questions and email us the answers?
Well, the first prize is kindly donated 4-issue run of Cutaway Comics Lytton, based on the Doctor Who character, and the second prize is one of our favourite films from Grimfest, was They Reach.
Oh, yeah.
They're Bri Troyer, who stars in it and is also the producer, has just sent me an email actually a couple of hours ago saying it is in the post, and he's sending it.
Well, bless you, Bri. Thank you so much. That's
And
great.
also to say that it's because it's coming from the States, that it won't be here till like the 20th of January.
No.
So our winner will probably get the DVD beginning of February.
Right. Well,
I would
good
say.
things come to those who wait.
Yeah,
But that's fantastic. So basically, we'll have those 2 questions, and if you feel like you know the answers, email us at ambisouls. My company has an email address which is really hard to say in an audio form. It's ambisoulslimited@gmail.com. It is on the website.
Is that really unpleasant people with really bad attitude, and they can use both hands equally?
That would be ambisods, wouldn't it? But I know what you got.
Ambidextrous arseholes as well.
Well, that is what I did want to call my company, but I was discouraged. So anyway, so you can drop us an email at that address, which is on the website, and I'll obviously put that in the show notes as well for those of you who are listening through your podcatcher. But also on our website, there's a contact form page that you can use as well. And listen carefully to the quiz, and the question for the listeners will come up at a certain point. I say that because I don't really know when it will come up, because I'm not the quiz master. Ian is, and he's done the planning. So, Ian, we need to be assembled into teams, and then I'll let you take it away. Is that all right?
Well, with these questions, I'm a bit worried I've either made them too hard or too easy, because I don't know you guys in terms of...
It's probably too difficult for me.
That's hard.
They're too hard for Kelly, but Kelly really doesn't do the genre at all, do you?
No.
So, as we've mentioned on the podcast before. But we did watch The
I
Woman in
watch
Black.
films.
We watched The Woman in Black, and...
Oh, yeah?
Nigel Neal that you told me to watch, and you were quite scared, but not that scared. and
Okay.
and I got Kelly to watch The Exorcist, and she had 3 panic attacks during it.
Yes, Kelly, we feel for you. That's well done.
Yeah.
It really upset me the first time I saw it, but then again, I was a very impressionable sort of 13-year-old Catholic who was convinced that the devil was sitting in a bed and talking at me, and I found it very, very disturbing. I've got to deal with it a bit more now. But
Yeah.
There's going to be another
Target audience.
therapy session.
I am speechless. I mean, I'm speechless about The Exorcist. I can't believe it was made.
Right.
I didn't even know evil existed before.
Grew up in Cheshire.
Oh.
I know. I feel like my whole life was shielded. I seriously thought I was letting it in through my house. It was dreadful.
Oh dear.
First time I watched it, it did feel like we'd haunted the house. We all watched it as students, and none of us went to sleep. We all left all the lights on, like we'd let something bad in. That's how it felt.
I watched Blair Witch. I lived by myself in a studio flat in a really awful place in Manchester, and I went to go and see Blair Witch. Have you seen Blair Witch? Because you're all horror
Yes,
fans?
I think we all agree here that it's one of our scariest ever movies.
Yeah, so I went to see it, but I was really into, I don't know whether you know about the style about wearing trousers and dresses over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant, wasn't it? Wow, this is like the best thing. I'd love to wear a dress, but I don't shave my legs, so like wearing a pair of jeans, amazing. Anyway, so I was in that phase of life, and we were watching Blair Witch, so I watched the entire film through my dress and over my trousers. It was so terrifying because the whole film is wavy trees. And then I went back to my flat, and I lived by myself in this studio flat, and the only view from my only window was some wavy trees. And it was just awful. It was just horrendous. It's the worst film I've ever seen. I'll never see it again.
Oh dear.
I think you're in the wrong place this evening.
I know. I was drafted here, to be honest.
You're drafted. Our aim is to give you only one panic attack, Kelly.
Yeah. Get through it with just the one. We're all right.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely all learn something about each other during the course of this quiz. So,
Whether you like it or not.
so Ian, shall we assemble ourselves into teams, or do you want to do that?
Well, as we were discussing on the emails, I'm a bit worried. Who knows? Because Kelly's not playing, are you? You're going back.
Yeah, but I can see all the answers.
Well, you can see all the answers now anyway, so yeah.
That is an advantage.
You're not playing.
Actually, the answers I know.
Shh, don't. Well, you're going to read them out in a quickly rewrite. But I was just saying, Kelly's not playing because you're going back in to stop a sunburn in the house down. But or whatever it is you might do. But I'm just worried that I don't know which of you has if I've done the sort of knowledge that might have more in common with Dan.
Well, listen, I think we should do it like this. My suggestion is that we do boys versus girls. Simple as that. So me and Sven, girls. I think Sven and I think you and I have a nice balance of knowledge between us, and then Kirsty and Stella. You're both more on the academic side of things, but your knowledge is in different areas of horror. So I think you'll be a good team.
How do we do that, Dan? How do we
compare with our teammates?
Oh no, there is no conferring. This is a podcast. It's all basically, unless I'm wrong, Ian. The way this is going to work is that you'll ask one question to one team.
Yeah.
We'll confer out loud.
So what's going to happen? It's going to be like a panel show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will ask a question for one team. If they then confer wittily and banterily, and if you get it wrong, then it'll be offered out. You get 3 points if you get it right. If it's offered over to the other team and they get it right, they get 1 point. And she'll see who wins at the end.
Okay.
Basically. And right at the end, I've got a "Who am I?" thing, which I'll explain when we get there. As a sort of final round.
That's
Kirsty, I apologise in advance for being shit.
Right, I'm going to go. Nice to meet you all.
Kelly. It's been a pleasure.
But I know like 3 of the answers, and they're really. I know the 3 films. So
Oh my
if
God,
I know
they
them,
probably are to me.
you know them. So if the answer's like really hard, if the question's really hard, maybe the answer's really easy. That's my advice.
That's like a rule for life. That.
Inspiring
Yeah,
guidance.
Could you, because this is what happens on all panel shows, but could you get me a bottle opener, please? And I probably need a
Yeah, Sandy Toxvig is always saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Superb.
Yeah.
God bless Kelly. Right.
Yeah. So let me get it ready. So it is men v women, because I read the Guardian.
Do we have team names?
Oh, you can, yeah. Come up with team names.
Sven, I think you should choose. You suggested having names. I've not even thought.
Instantly.
Think of something related to horror and Christmas, if possible. Like we could call ourselves, for instance, the Krampuses.
The 2 Krampuses.
Okay, that's a superior sequel.
Krampi.
Oh dear. I'm happy for that one. Stella and Kirsty, are you going to have a team name?
Can I suggest that we are the Sleigh Bells?
Yes.
Oh, that is good. That is superb. All right.
No chance you came up with that. No chance whatsoever. That's been on your mind, ticking away somewhere, at least for the day.
How many weeks have you been sat on that?
Last Christmas.
All right, okay.
But it's see sleigh as in like Slayer and then bells.
Yes.
Bells.
That's superb. It works for me entirely.
Suddenly my name sounds shit. Sorry, Dan.
Well, no, I think any name would pale in comparison to the Sleigh Bells. I think we've done okay.
You're going with the Krampuses. Krampi. Krampi is funnier.
I'm happy with the Krampi. If you're happy, Sven.
Crampy in a basket.
It just sounds like we're people with cramp.
Yeah.
Krampi.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ian, over to you then, I think, to kick us off.
Okay, Krampi and Sleigh Bells. Okay.
What is it? They said dead air is a crime when it comes to radio. So I'm just filling the silence here.
Oh, dead air.
Yeah.
Oh, it's dead air. But what's dead air like Dada?
It's an art
Well, you're being
movement.
really intellectual. Okay, dead air is a crime.
That never happens.
Krampi, since I put you down first, you're going first.
Hey,
So
Gary.
it's three questions per round and 4 rounds. And round 1 is horror movies 1900 to 1940s.
Okay, over to you.
So this is
Let's
for the
see.
Krampi.
Okay.
Part 2 is F.W. Murnau's classic 1922 silent adaptation of Dracula. But the evil count, played by Max Schreck, is given which name?
The Graf Orlok. Sorry, Sven, I didn't even let you think about it.
No, I was just going to say I've heard it because Kirsty has banged on about that film. But I can't remember it. So good work, Dan.
But
Nice one.
yes,
I hope it's right.
Graf Orlok is right. 3 points.
Superb. That's a drink to me.
Okay. For the Sleigh Bells, James Whale, director of Universal classics such as 1931's Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein in 1935, died in Hollywood aged 67, but in which British town was he born in 1889?
I feel like you guys got the easier question.
Yeah,
Don't you know?
I thought this was equally easy. But,
Well, if you know the answer, I
I
don't know.
suppose
Any thoughts?
I probably would have struggled with Count Orlok and known this straight away.
That tells me everything I need to know about how little I'm going to get right on this quiz.
I mean, I have no idea about that question.
Oh, well, maybe you've just got bad luck. Have you never seen Gods and Monsters?
I never have.
It's brilliant with Ian McKellen as James Whale.
Yeah, I really should.
In his last couple of years of life. Oh, it's brilliant.
Doesn't help.
I don't know.
Well, it's a British town.
Derby.
Derby. Yeah, let's go for Derby.
No.
No.
Are you going to have a guess, Crampai?
Sven, do you want to throw a town out? I'll throw a town out.
I don't know the town, but there's a place called Wigwig that always makes me chuckle.
Oh, that's a good name.
It's a big village
Is
or
it?
a hamlet.
Damn it.
Town.
Town.
Eastbourne. I just want to say that for some reason.
No, he's got a very Eastbourne vibe, hasn't he? I think that's because of the sort of... We kind of think of him as lounging around at the end of his life. But no, it's Dudley.
All right.
Oh, what?
See, now if you'd said where's Lenny Henry from, we would have all got that.
Well, do you know what? It's funny, but an earlier draft of the thing was mentioned Lenny Henry, and I thought, well, that's just going to give it away. Which birthplace does he share with Lenny Henry? Well, at least they didn't pick up a point. Sleigh bells. So, second question for the Crampai. In 1943's Son of Dracula, the titular count cunningly takes on the name Alucard, Dracula backwards. Which famous horror actor plays him?
I know this, Sven, only because I happened to watch a documentary on YouTube yesterday which talks about it. Otherwise, I'd draw a blank. I believe it, because I've never seen this film. I believe it was Lon Chaney Jr.
Is that your answer?
I agree. I'm with you.
Thank you, Sven. I have your support. It means a lot. Always.
Got your back. Don't worry.
Thanks, fella. Am I right, Ian?
You are right.
Hey. Okay.
Oh.
So yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely.
Okay.
There is voter fraud going on here. This process is corrupt.
Fake quiz. Okay, Sleigh Bells, your question.
Yeah.
I imagine you will get this because you're academics. The 1921 silent German expressionist fantasy chiller, Der Mood Tod. Oh, this is where Sven's going to kill me because it's German. Der Mood Tod, ein deutsches Volkslied in 6 Versen, which translates as Weary Death, a German folk story in 6 verses, is known in the English-speaking world as Destiny. Who was the very famous director?
Oh, come on, guys, do you know this? I think we watched this at university.
No, I don't think we did because Destiny's the one that doesn't have any intertitles, I think.
The 1921 silent German expressionist fantasy chiller, Der Mood
Todd. I don't know the rest of it.
Der Mood Tod, ein deutsches Volkslied in 6 Versen, which translates as Weary Death, a German folk story in 6 verses, is known in English-speaking world as Destiny.
Yeah.
Who was the very famous director?
It does ring a bell, though, because I remember thinking when we watched Destiny, its English language title has nothing to do with the German title.
No. German expressionist fantasy chiller.
It sounds like the kind of question you would know the answer to.
I've got an inkling, but I'm not sure.
Inkle away.
You can discuss.
Oh yeah.
And I will.
Stella's got any thoughts?
Poker face.
No.
For the people at home who can't see me, poker face.
Yeah, obviously. I'm gonna get. I don't think you would have put a Murnau question against another Murnau question in the same round, so I'm gonna go Fritz Lang.
Is that your answer? What about Stella?
No, I have no answer.
Fritz Lang is right.
Ah, yay! Get
I did
in.
say German expressionist several times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Crampi. In the 1936 Warner Bros. Movie, The Walking Dead, which well-known horror actor starred as a man who, wrongly executed for murder, is brought back to life by a mad scientist and seeks revenge on those who framed him?
I'm going to let you take this one down.
Thank you, Sven.
1936 Warner Brothers movie, The Walking Dead, which well-known horror actor starred as a man who, wrongly executed for murder, is brought back to life by a mad scientist and seeks revenge on those who framed him.
I don't know. I haven't seen this film. I'm actually quite poor on pre-1940 horror, which I feel guilty about. But so I'll just have to guess. Bela Lugosi.
Is that your answer?
It's gonna have to be. I think
It's wrong.
Please tell me it's not Karloff. I thought Karloff can't have played two revived corpses in the 30s.
So, Sleigh Bells, what's your guess for 1 point?
Oh, is this how it works?
Yeah.
Karloff?
Yeah.
Listen to the rules.
No. Clearly not.
Put your Karloff then.
You going for Karloff? It's Karloff.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Nice one. Hello, that was terrible, Sven. I'm sorry, I've let you down.
That's why it was an interesting question, because it's a bit like, who's that guy who plays undead people? Let's get him in again.
Yeah.
That's so much.
Okay. Sleigh Bells. Over his 40-year career, George Wagner directed dozens of movies and TV shows, including 10 episodes of the Adam West Batman. And in 1941, he directed 4 feature films: South of Tahiti, Man-Made Monster, Horror Island, and which iconic horror for which he is best known?
I don't know.
What year?
1941. Not a lot happening in the world in those days, so let's narrow it down.
Let me just lean back and look at my DVD shelf. No, I mean, I was going to say White Zombie or something, but that's too early, isn't it?
I've thought of a clue that might narrow it down. Am I allowed to give them a clue?
If they get it wrong, you get to give us an answer.
I know, but I want to. All right, I was just being.
It's not a quiz if you're going to patronise people.
I just been I wanted to be sanctimonious, but all right, fine. I'll hang back.
I'm sure they will cane you on other rounds.
Probably true.
90s horror, maybe.
Oh, I don't know. Fucking Invasion of the Body.
Sorry?
What?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
You going for that? Kirsty, you happy with that?
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah.
Okay, that is wrong. Crampi. Any idea?
It's the Wolfman.
It is the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the only George Wagner film I know, and the clue I would.
For the listeners at home, Stella just did a very bad word.
And Anna threw a tissue at me. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
At the end of that round, bing bong, Sleigh Bells are on 4. Crampi are on 8.
Whoa.
It's like QI score.
Oh, no, you're not. Hang on.
That's not right, Ian.
No.
Yeah.
It's because on one column I added up, and then the other column I didn't. So for some reason, that's 6. So 3, 3. Well, actually, that's pretty good as a quiz. 5 plays 4.
Okay.
Sorry, who's got?
Crampi.
I'm confused.
Me too.
No, sorry, you've got. I'm an idiot. 7 plays 4.
Okay, so who's got what?
Sleigh Bells have got 4. Crampi have got 7.
Okay.
2 right answers and 1 bonus. And
Okay.
Sleigh Bells have got 1 right answer and 1 bonus.
Right.
Yeah. That is
Okay.
correct.
So each round we get 3 questions each. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Okay, hit us.
So, round 2, classic horror, 1940s, all the way up to the 1980s.
Right.
I didn't want too many rounds, did we?
That's broad.
So,
Okay.
Crampi, which actress who went on to become a producer and prosthetic makeup coordinator starred as Nancy Thompson in 1984's Nightmare on Elm Street?
I feel like I'm cheating by knowing this because I think somebody on the other team told me about it.
They did.
Yeah. So
I know it.
Oh, bollocks.
I feel like I'm so ruthless. I feel like Stella's team has earned this point. I'm just going to get it wrong and say Jamie Lee Curtis.
You're such a wimp, Dan.
Disappointed.
No, it's not Jamie Lee. Fucking Curtis.
We'll make it up, Swan. We'll make it up, I promise.
Sleigh bells.
It's
If they get it
Heather-
wrong now, you're going to really think that's hilarious.
It's going to be silly, isn't it? Heather Langenkamp, but she's listed as Heather L. Anderson on the credits.
Yes.
That's the name that she does
I knew
effects
that.
under.
Yes, that is correct.
Super.
Right. Dan, this is your last warning. You're not going to take it seriously.
Yeah.
It's a quiz.
Right, okay.
To win. Okay.
It's life and death.
Bells. In Rosemary's Baby, 1968, which actor, also well known as a director and pioneer of American independent cinema, plays Guy, husband to Mia Farrow's Rosemary? And I thought as academics you'd probably get this.
Yeah, I'm not. Is it Bogdanovich?
Yeah, if you want.
Is it Bogdanovich? No.
Yeah. Well,
Dan and Sven?
Do this. You must know.
Who is?
It's John Cassavetes.
It is John Cassavetes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, I've made up for my previous compassion now, Sven. It's all to the death from here.
Okay. And here I feel we are falling in Dan's favour again, I'm afraid. I think. Classic Chiller, Night of the Demon, 1957, also known as Curse of the Demon in the USA, from director Jacques Tourneur, is based on the short story Curse of the Runes by which author?
Well, firstly, it's called Casting the Runes, not Curse of the Runes. And secondly, it's Montague Rhodes James. So yeah, that is in my area, so to speak.
Emma James is correct. Okay. Well, here's one that, let's see.
Are you rewarding yourself with a mince pie?
You're like
Me? I know the answer is...
every season of University Challenge, they always have a smug water drinker. Whenever they get it right, it always goes and have it. Tosses back their water like it's a whiskey. Which 1988 British horror film, loosely based on a Bram Stoker short story, features an early starring role for Dreamboat Hugh Grant? I thought you'd get this immediately.
Can you repeat the question?
Which 1988 British horror film, loosely based on a Bram Stoker short story, features an early starring role for Hugh Grant? And I will add, it was directed by Ken Russell.
Yeah, see, I know this one, but I like the title is currently escaping me.
Is it about werewolves?
No. Oh gosh, is it also got Liz Hurley in it?
If she's in it as well, she's not in the piece of paper in front of me.
It does have other famous names in it.
Yeah.
It has. The sort of the lead woman I was going to tell you was part of the. Yes, that's correct. Or that's wrong. So I've already added the Ken Russell bit.
Yeah.
To be fair.
I don't know.
Is it? I don't know. Is it just called Gothic? No.
Is that your
You are
answer?
so close.
Oh God! I'm so. I don't know.
Well, it's not Gothic, and I'm sorry, but I think Dan's going to tell me the answer.
What is?
So in 1986, Ken Russell made Gothic for Vestron. They said, "Can you make another film for us?" And he went, "Yeah." And he made the Bram Stoker story, The Lair of the White Worm, which is Hugh Grant, but also has Peter Capaldi and Amanda Donohoe in it. And I've never seen it.
I've never heard of that.
I remember watching it years ago. It's a bit racy when you're 14.
That's
It's a bit racy.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true.
That's what Ken Russell films are for.
Yeah, that is true. My dad used to work with Ken Russell. My dad edited the Wagner docudrama.
Oh, right.
Clang.
Sorry, and I met Ken Russell. I know Clang. I met Ken Russell.
Nice.
Clang. Yes. Okay. So whose question is it now? It is Crampi. Which actress? Oh God, Sleigh Bells, you're going to hate me. Which actress, perhaps best known for her roles in Hammer and Amicus horror films, has a small role in 1973's The Wicker Man as the librarian?
Dan, I hear you like this film.
I have seen it a couple of times, Sven. Yeah, Ingrid Pitt.
Passing familiarity.
That's right. Oh, right. I'm really gunning for the Sleigh Bells to get this right. Which actor, best known for playing Generals Patton in the 1970 biopic and Burgidson for Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove, as well as appearing in 1990's The Exorcist 3, that's a lot of clues, plays haunted New York composer John Russell in 1980 cult classic The Changeling?
I love that film. That's not an answer.
Please, can I give Kirsty a clue? Because it would it's a clue that would only make sense to Kirsty. Kirsty, if you're struggling, think of a film that was famously made near where you live, or or in Shrewsbury, that you told me about.
Okay.
It's the lead actor from that film.
I don't know.
It's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid.
His name's George somebody, but I've forgotten.
We have half a point.
And you're allowed to confer. It's your favourite film, or you love that film, Stella. I love that film too. Yeah. It's genuinely scary, The Changeling.
It is great, isn't it?
It's a really harrowing opening.
Yeah, I watched it when I was a kid. I was off school sick. I remember laying on the sofa and my mum put it on. Said, "Watch this, you're not well." It did not get better.
Listeners, it's on Shudder at the moment. Another reason to get Shudder.
Yeah, and also very cheap on Amazon. But everything is. So, are we getting an answer?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just damn it! I think Dan knows it.
Of course he does, because
it's Dan. Dan knows. And he's
like the wiki.
We should have a Sven only round to even things up. No offense.
Yeah, like in Countdown, where only one of them can do it. That's what we should do.
Yeah. Well, what we could do is, instead of playing your Joker, you have to play your Dan.
Oh dear.
Come on then, Dan. Who is it?
Well, I think Kirsty's entitled to some points for what she said.
I'm not in the habit of patronising people.
Well, you gave half the name.
Yeah.
So it's
which George then? Name. Give me a surname to a George. It's not George Clooney. And there are surely other Georges that pop in your head will make you.
The one that's popping into my head is George O'Brien, who was in Sunrise.
Wow.
That's the only other George that's coming to me, which is a really obscure one, but there you go. But it's not him, because he would have been completely dead by then. But
What about your synapses? Stella?
For a George?
For a George? A film you really like? From 1980? He was quite old.
Lots of other films as well, though.
Well, yeah. Which I said.
Yeah.
Exorcist 3,
Doctor Strangelove.
Strangelove,
is a
and
major
it's Patton.
Curious George.
Okay,
Good
neither of
answer.
those answers is right. I've given you enough rope.
Yeah.
Dan, put him out the misery.
George C. Scott.
Oh.
See, I quite like the idea of Curious George playing a part in The Exorcist 3. That would work, someone vomiting, all kinds of things, and Curious George just,
Just
interesting.
like picking through the vomit and wondering what's in it.
Yeah.
I feel awful at these teams, but
This is the point where I have to have feet of clay. I can't place who Curious George is.
It's a monkey.
It's a monkey.
Ah!
that just makes it even worse, Dan. That's like, oh God, it's a pop culture reference. It's just so beneath me.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, I'm just feeling really sorry for Sleigh Bells because they are on 5.
You don't need your pity. You don't need your pity.
And Crampi are on 16.
Wow.
All to play for. Okay, before we go into round 3, we're going to have the first of our competition questions.
Oh, okay. For the listeners.
Written out, so this is probably going to come out very garbled. So this is for Cutaway Comics, who I also write for. They're Doctor Who spin-offs, all above board, nothing dodgy, all with permission of the IP holders, including Eric Seward, who was producer of Doctor Who in the 80s, and he has actually written this first one based on his character Lytton, which, as Dan will know, appeared in the Adventures Attack of the Cybermen and Resurrection of the Daleks. But my question is, which you must email to that bizarre email address Dan read earlier.
Yes, I'm not going to try and spell it out again.
Which amazing actor, who's sadly no longer with us, played Lytton in Doctor Who? Don't say it out loud, Dan. So I know you know.
I'm fighting it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Round 3. Modern horror movies, 1990s to the present day.
See, this is good because this is where I'm going to be rubbish.
You say that, but I bet you just look at the size of your egghead. You just you're like Megamind. Okay, this is for Crampi.
I think we're going to have a visual version of this podcast on our YouTube channel. It's essential.
Yeah. Which 1990 sci-fi horror involving a killer robot was sued by Fleetway Comics on the grounds that the movie's plot was plagiarized from a story that appeared in the 1981 Judge Dredd annual? Do you know, Sven?
I don't know that specific annual. Judge Dredd, so...
It wasn't actually a Judge Dredd story, I don't think, though, but it was in the annual.
2000 AD something, which is really cool. I don't know, Dan.
I do know. Kirsty, you may remember at the bottom of the moor in Sheffield, they used to have this cool little store that sold cheap VHSs. I bought this movie from that for a couple of quid. It's Richard Stanley's Hardware.
It is indeed.
Yeah. It was completely not based on 2000 AD, but 2000 AD sued it afterwards for ripping off one of their future.
No, but it is actually a major plot point. I remember as I was watching it, going, that's from that Judge Dredd story. The bit at the end where, this is a spoiler for anyone who wants to cover their ears for a 1990 killer robot film. But at the end, she uses the fridge to hide herself, I think, and that's the bit that happens in the might be a coincidence, but it was found in court because I remember thinking that as I was watching it, and then at the end it says based on a story by Pat Mills in 2000 AD.
Right.
So it was kind of they got him banged to rights.
So yeah, that's the South African director Richard Stanley, who just had oodles of luck throughout his career, got thrown off the island of Dr. Moreau and ended up not making a movie for 30 years, but has just directed The Colour Out of Space, which Kirsty's seen and I haven't watched yet.
Oh, yeah. I've still not seen that, yeah. But he did Dust Devil as well, which I was a goth at the time. I was very excited. It had Fields of the Nephilim guy in it, Carl McCoy.
What did you just say, Sven?
Oh, it's a really easy watch. It's really relaxing. It's kind of the thing you want to watch just as you're drifting off to sleep.
Right.
It won't plague you for eternity.
It's good to have that assurance. Okay, great.
I love the fact that I always think that when you see horror films on the side of buses and it goes, you see a film and it says in quotes, genuinely disturbing. I just think it will plague your dreams. People will be like, yeah, it will plague your dreams. I'm there. Okay. Sleigh bells. Which director's feature film debut was 1993's Kronos?
Oh, I know this.
Is Guillermo del Toro?
If you're in, pardon?
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
Yay!
The girls are back in town.
Can I just show you, even though this is radio and no one can see, this weird pen that somebody got me for Christmas?
Oh my word!
Is that a pen?
Yeah.
It's a finger.
Yeah.
More evidence.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought.
Wow.
Anyway.
Excellent Frankenstein.
Yeah. Right. This, well, we'll see. I guess like all questions, we'll see. I was about to say this might be quite tricky, but then again, if you know the answer, no. So,
I often
why? Which actor who went on to achieve huge fame in The Office, the American version, as well as roles in Star Trek Discovery and in shark movie The Meg, stars as ill-fated Bill in Rob Zombie's 2003 directorial debut, House of a Thousand Corpses, which is awful in my opinion.
Agreed.
I might know this answer, and I feel really proud that I might actually know and this quiz.
Sven, have you seen this film? Because I haven't.
No, but hang on. What was the film mentioned? Sorry, you said Star Trek Discovery, and I thought put things together and thought
Star Trek Discovery, The American Office, and The Meg.
But the film in question was The House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah. He plays Bill in The House of a Thousand Corpses.
I haven't seen it. I have seen The Devil's Rejects, the sequel, which is one of the films I've most hated in life.
Wow.
I can't believe they made a sequel to The House of a Thousand Corpses.
I think there are now 3 of them, Ian. I think there are 3.
You seem angry about that, Dan.
Well, I'm
3, okay? 3.
It does get to me.
Let's see if Sven can get an answer.
Is it Rainn Wilson?
Yes!
Oh,
right.
I'm always so happy when I get an answer in these quizzes because I just feel like an idiot through most of it. I just feel like I am just a shell of a human being. And then there's one fun thing because I've seen...
I'm married to a woman like that as well.
Mate, well done, Sven.
Thank you. I'm going to go now.
That's it, you've peaked.
Yeah, that's as good as it's going to get for me. I'm not going.
Not true, Sven.
You up in the rest of it. I got this.
Okay.
Good man.
Right. Sleigh bells. Little known and critically panned 2009 horror Blood Creek starred a pre-superstardom Michael Fassbender and was directed by which very well-known director who died in June of this year?
No idea.
I thought there were too many clues in that question.
Yeah.
2009, Blood Creek. Michael Fassbender was kind of known then, but not. He was obviously just on the cusp of becoming...
I'm not a Michael Fassbender fan, so I wouldn't know who I would have paid.
Where's his sister?
Director that died this year.
Oh, you're going to kick yourself. I thought this was too easy when I wrote it. Not like that.
As I said, you
just to rub it in. But if there's any for the people at home, Dan is looking puzzled too. So I would have got this.
I don't know.
Oh God. I don't want to offend anybody by naming a director who is not actually.
That'd be all right because they'll still be breathing. They'll be like, cool. It's quite funny when you get.
I don't know.
Are there many directors that listen to the podcast?
Well, no, probably not.
It's out there forever, so.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. The answer to this question won't be listening.
No. Well,
unless they have this podcast in heaven or hell.
Of course they have it in heaven.
In heaven.
It would be heaven without this podcast.
Definitely.
Pass. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that is the wrong answer. Boys, any idea?
No.
Died in June this year. I know not a lot has happened this year.
Well, certainly not a lot of people have died, Ian, so it's kind of hard to...
No.
You think
You know what? I should have looked up. I don't know what he died of. I don't think it was COVID-19.
Michael Winner. I don't know.
Sadly, he's still with us.
You know, I was watching, sorry, total tangent, I was watching Happy Valley yesterday on BritBox, and there's a bit where, like, a 7-year-old child goes to tell somebody to shut up by going, "Calm down, dear." And I found myself mentally trying to work out, wait a minute, when did Michael Winner die? How likely is that 7-year-old to be, having been around to see those adverts?
Is he dead?
He died several years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I know.
I think he...
Do you not remember the huge mourning? The nation wept.
Yeah, the flag's at half-mast. Oh.
Yeah. It's like Churchill's funeral all over again. Michael Winner's died. Who's going to review our films and direct shit films?
What was the answer to this one?
I don't know. I've no idea.
Yeah, she doesn't know, so don't feel too bad.
Can I suggest a name just because I'm fairly certain it's wrong and I want to name a director who I hope is not dead?
Right, well, go on, name it.
The only person I know who's directed a horror film with Michael Fassbender in is James Watkins, who went on to direct The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe. I'm not aware of him being dead, and also it's a different film, I think. But on the other hand, Eden Lake and Blood Creek do sort of sound like the same film, but in different territories.
It's not James Watkins, who, as far as I know, is still with us. It is Joel Schumacher.
Oh, God.
Did you forget he'd left us?
Oh, you know what's horrible?
I think you even mentioned it on a podcast.
Well, a podcast who some friends of ours who do the podcast called Movie Geeks United did do a kind of tribute episode to him that I listened to because I've appeared on their podcast, so I should have thought of that. But even so, I would never have known the film.
No, well, that's why I gave you the name of the film.
Yeah.
In the question, and Michael Fassbender, and he died in June of this year. You still didn't get it, any of you idiots. Okay. Here is Crampi. You really need these guys to get something wrong. Who directed one of my favourite films of recent years, 2015's The Black Coat's Daughter, sometimes inexplicably retitled February in some territories?
Dan? You look genuinely confused, Dan.
I'm just wondering. I never know what you're going to say now, Sven. I'm just waiting to be surprised. So
well, I'm glad to have a bit of mystery about me rather than going,
yeah, it's the enigmatic quality. I haven't seen that film, but I believe it's directed by Oz Perkins.
Osgood Perkins, indeed, who is the son of Anthony Perkins, and it's an amazing. Have you guys seen that?
Nope.
You really should seek it out because it's oh God, you'll know what's her name. She was in Mad Men and then in Sabrina.
I know, Kirsty.
No, I don't know.
Kiernan Shipka.
Yeah. And
she's great.
She's absolutely amazing in The Black Coat's Daughter, and it's really satanic and scary, really creepy, low budget. I love Osgood Perkins. I am the pretty thing that lives in the wall as well. It's just. Have you seen that? It's just.
I think somebody's. That film's on Netflix, by the way. But I think somebody is making a hint. Have we reached the end of this round, Ian?
One more question.
One more question.
Really need a wee.
Right.
Other things they don't say on
It's quality
panel
podcasting.
shows.
No, we'll have some bridge music while everybody goes
All
to
right,
sleep.
okay.
Sleigh bells. For your final question of this round, I think you might get this. Which seemingly inconsequential, but ultimately hugely important horror comedy hit cinemas in 1992, starring Kirsty Swanson in the lead role?
Yeah, we know this
I
one.
think I know the answer to that. No, I know, but I'm terrible at this.
Is it Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yes!
Yay!
Did you know that, Dan?
Of course I knew that.
Okay,
We all knew that.
let's go and have a wee. Put the music on.
Yay!
All right, cue theme music. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And we're back, everybody. Hello. So we've had our little loo break, and we're ready for the final round of the quiz. Ian, this is the quiz round, which is on the topic of Christmas horror, I believe.
Christmas horror, which you asked me to do the whole quiz on, and that's really hard because do you know what? Christmas isn't generally a very horrific time of year.
It is in my brain.
What,
Every
Easter?
time of year is horrific in your brain, I think.
Well,
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is all about Christmas. So, just to appraise you of the scores, Crampi are on 22, and Sleigh Bells are literally 100% worse on 11.
Yay!
I'm just trying to work out the maths of that.
That is 100% worse, isn't it? No, 50% worse.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
no.
right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's 11 plays 22. All to play for.
Sounds like a
That's
tennis
you've got to
score.
really fuck up.
We'll do our best.
Purpose, Dan. Don't do it on purpose. I really hate it when people give points away. Okay,
I am so reprimanded.
Crampi. A 2017 British Christmas zombie musical film directed by John McPhail. Name the film. If you weren't winning by miles, I'd give you a clue, but
I think I know, but I haven't seen it. This just reveals that so much of my knowledge is about films that I haven't seen. What the hell's the point of that? Unless, Sven, you know of another kind of apocalypse musical, I think it might be called Anna and the Apocalypse. Kirsty's nodding. I think that. So, I think we'll go for that answer. That's
yeah,
correct.
it was a highlight of Grimfest a few years ago, wasn't it? Absolutely amazing film. It's doing really well when you go online and you just see like a little Scottish movie, isn't it? Like international lists of best Christmas horror movies. It's really up there.
Oh,
Like it's got a really good reputation for a little film we all saw at Grimfest.
I
So
must try and watch it this Christmas.
Sleigh Bells. Which actress, best known for her role in the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, plays sorority student Barb in classic 1974 slasher Black Christmas?
Stella.
I feel this is one Dan would have just got like that.
No.
Don't know. Sorry.
No idea?
No
The
idea.
Christopher Reeve Superman movies.
I know.
No.
The Christopher Reeve Superman movies.
Yeah.
Just say as much as you want, but I still don't.
Christopher Reeve Superman movies. It's like speaking to foreigners. No offense, Sven. No answer.
No.
Answer came then none. Do you know, boys?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Dan knows. Of course he knows. Of course he knows. Just.
What's the answer, Dan?
It's Margot Kidder, isn't it?
Margot Kidder. I thought that was too easy.
Literally, I've never heard that name before in my life.
No, me neither.
Never heard of Margaret? She played Lois Lane
So?
in the Superman movies, and she was in Black Christmas. Have you not seen Black Christmas?
To be fair, that's about it. She didn't do.
No, but Black Christmas is amazing.
Yeah,
It really is amazing. Okay, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Getting ready.
As featured,
limber up, Sven.
as featured in Ruben Pla's documentary, The Horror Crowd, which we reviewed on this very podcast as part of our Grimfest 2020 coverage, name the 2018 Christmas-themed slasher directed by spooky Dan Walker.
Dan looks like he might know the answer.
Dan knows.
That was a grimace of the wrong kind of terror.
Oh.
Is there a wrong kind of terror, Dan?
Because I haven't seen that film, and if you remember, I still haven't seen it. And if you remember Ian and Stella when we reviewed it on the show, which was obviously you guys reviewed, I just sat there. I said, "Who the hell is Spooky Dan Walker?"
Well,
I really don't know.
Well, I wouldn't feel too bad if you're genuinely dropping a bollock rather than patronising people. Then it's probably quite good for the quiz.
Consider a genuine bollock dropped, because I don't know.
Sven use it. No, Sven's dropped the bollock too.
I have also dropped the bollock, sincerely.
Okay.
It's good to have solidarity.
Kirsty and Stella, do you know the answer?
I don't know. Stella?
Is it called Sleigh Bells?
Yes, it is.
Oh!
Kirsty, you're just not very original.
Superb.
That takes you up to 12 points.
That would have been awful if you guys didn't get the
I
one.
know.
Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, it's an amazing play on words called Sleigh Bells. And Kirsty's going, but I've just written that as a massive draft. Okay. So Sleigh Bells now. This is very weird how this has come out. Which 2015 Christmas comedy horror is directed by Michael Dougherty and stars Adam Scott, Toni Collette, and David Kirchner? And that's Stella and Kirsty.
Is it Krampus?
Yeah!
Hey!
Was that good?
Is that weird?
That is weird. How that question fell. Yeah.
Wow. And now you're gaining. Okay.
Not enough, though, I feel.
Can I just say,
Well, we've got one more round after this, in which there are 10 points to play for.
So I'm just going to say, Sven keeps cutting out. So I'm just going to say, what did you just say then, Sven?
I knew the answer to that. Because I really like Adam Scott. So,
Yeah.
Is he the guy who's also in?
Creation.
So I've only seen one episode of that, so maybe.
I've never seen Krampus. Is it good? Because it's on Netflix right now.
We haven't seen it.
No, we were.
I've heard really good things. It's a comedy. It's a horror comedy. It's a horror.
It's one of those.
I've not had a. I haven't had a.
Oh dear.
I once got arrested, and just before I was bundled into the car because I was so drunk, I was trying to say I haven't had a drinkstable as a joke, and I said I haven't had a drink, Constable, and like with Nail and I or something, I just had to be carried. I doubled up laughing at how ridiculous that was, and I had to be carried in to the police car with. Still in the fetal position because I was laughing so hard at the fact I couldn't say I haven't had a drinkstable. Anyway, is that enough, Dan? Are you gonna? No.
Let's have one more, I think, Ian.
We don't like a smart. We're going to do that in the new year, aren't we? We're going to do Bad Boy Bubby.
I hope so.
So where was I? Who needs a question? Sleigh Bells. Do they? No.
No, just
No.
they just got Krampus. So
yeah.
so it's now Krampus.
Because you guys got the sleigh bells one, and they got Krampus one, and now.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is for Krampi. Actor Henry Travers starred in over 50 films in the 1930s and 1940s, but he's best known for his role as Guardian Angel Clarence in the best Christmas movie ever, It's a Wonderful Life. But in which 1933 science fiction horror film, directed by James Whale, did he star alongside Claude Rains? That's a lot of clues.
Dan?
I think it must be The Invisible Man.
It bloody is. Well done.
Right. That's another one I've never seen.
Yeah. Making horror questions Christmassy is difficult. Okay. Now, final question before we go on to the other round, the final round, which is not questions. Well, it's a sort of.
I see.
When we get there, this is the final question round. Okay, for the sleigh bells. Which PG-rated bloodbath takes place on Christmas Eve in a small American town of Kingston Falls? Oh, damn it. Dan knows this. I can see in his face.
Oh, God. I don't know.
Which PG-rated?
Well, is it, I don't know. Stella, any thoughts?
Nope.
No. Is it Gremlins?
No answer. You're not going to have a guess for 3 points.
I said, is it Gremlins?
Oh, is it what?
Gremlins.
Yes, it is.
Yay!
What?
Yeah.
I thought that was so easy. Okay, at the end of the final question round, and before we go into the Who Am I round, which I'll explain in a minute, we have on 18 points, Sleigh Bells, and on 29 points, what are you called? Krampi. Okay. Our second question for the
listeners.
For the listeners, the readers, the listeners, is we loved, when we were covering Grimfest earlier, the film They Reach. And the filmmakers are sending us a DVD, which we can then send to the listeners, or to the listener who gets this question right. So the answer is the question is simple. Who directed the damn film? They Reach. Have a Google. Send us an email. Okay. The final round is called Who Am I? I love it. We used to do this when we went to Edinburgh Film Festival. The quiz was amazing. It was full of like the geekiest, most knowledgeable film critics, and it was quite a thing of beauty to watch a film quiz about all film in the Edinburgh Film Festival. People from all over the world, and it was amazing. But they always had this round called Who Am I? And basically, as we're going to do here, you get 10 clues, but I ask you one clue, and when you think you know the answer, or you're going to gamble that you know the answer, you have to email me. Send me a Facebook message. So no conferring. And you get if you get it on the first question, you get 10 points. If you get it on the second one, you get 9 points, and so on. So I once saw it, and it was literally somebody just said, "I was born on this date," and somebody guessed straight away. It was your, oh God, what's the bloody name from Murder, She Wrote?
Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, it was Angela Lansbury. He literally knew Angela Lansbury's birth date.
Right.
That was all it took. So
for the purposes of this year, are we in teams? Still,
you are in teams, but I guess you have to go. I think I know that, and discuss, but don't say the thing out loud. If one of you goes, "Oh my God, I think I know this," then the other person has to go on then, do it or not do it, because you only get to answer once. That's the thing. You only get to answer once. So if you realise you're wrong, then you just...
Dan and Sven, you can use the chat on here.
Yeah.
You can see.
But yeah, Kirsty can see that. That's the problem. We've got two members of opposite teams sitting next to each other.
I think
no offence, Sven, but shall we cross that bridge when we come to it?
Yeah, I think if I'm sitting there and going, I know the answer.
If you know the answer, then you can text. Then you can grab Kirsty's phone and text me. If you don't mind, we'll sort it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what happens with these clues, because it's quite obscure to start with deliberately.
Oh.
Let's see.
Shocker.
Yes, I know.
I feel so.
But you never know. I'm worried you might get it from the first one. In which case, you are exactly the right thing.
Well, I did win a game of Cluedo on the very first turn once, which is also, that was my other peak gaming wise.
Wow.
I literally, it was my first go, and I went, "Is it such and such and such and such?" And they were like, "Well, yeah," and that was it.
Kirsty, you were right. Your first date was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sudden link. The other day I was watching Celebrity Mastermind, and Omid Jalili got the question in the general knowledge round in the game Cluedo. Who is the yellow character? Colonel what? And he went, Colonel Sanders?
I interviewed I interviewed Omid Jalili once, and he was on the phone. I was glad, but he assured me he was just in a towel, and his wife was laughing in the background because she said, "I can't believe you're taking an interview in your towel." And then he went on to talk about his balls quite a lot, in relation to Oliver Reed squeezing them really hard in Gladiator.
Okay.
That led me to believe he really was in his towel and had just got out of the bath when I was interviewing him. But anyway,
it's going to be on his mind.
Yes.
I think Ian,
we
might
going. Still hurts.
Oh my god! I think Ian, we might have to have a sound effect for whenever you drop a name.
Oh really?
Just be an anvil crash.
An anvil crash. Okay.
Or something. But it is a skill that you have.
But yeah. Anyway. Okay. This is the first clue. If you think you know after this, then you get 10 points. But you only get to guess once. So if you know it, that's a big deal. And you have to...
When do we actually tell you that we know?
You say that you know, and you have to send me the thing. So it's like a sealed envelope thing, but we're doing it remotely.
Okay.
So I'll tell you what. Let's have a guess each in case one of you's wrong, but it has to be anonymous. Well, not anonymous, but you have to say I think I know, and then fire off. So you've got two go. You've got Dan's got to go, Sven's got to go, Kirsty's got to go, Stella's got to go.
But presumably, if we don't really have any idea, then we'll just leave it until the last possible time, and then just send.
You only get to use your guess. You only get to fire once.
Right.
So it's all depends on. Oh, I think I know, but I'm going to wait till the next clue. Kind of thing. That's how it works. Or in the case of the Angela Lansbury one, he literally was so confident. He walked up, slapped his answer on the desk in front of the thing, and went, "I know." And then they have to keep it secret till the end. Okay. And we're all there going, "Bastard! I bet he does know." Literally from the date.
But the listeners won't know until they've heard all 10 clues, will they?
No. I'll tell you at the end. Unless they're really clever and they know.
This is like
a listening
challenge, isn't it?
It probably is. Okay. I'm being really maverick. I'm not even starting with the date they were born. And I'm really scared that this is actually going to make somebody know what this is. But anyway, fuck it. First clue for 10 points if you know on this clue. Who am I? I'm named after the town I was born in. If you think you know, ping me a message. If you don't, I'll move on. Anyone know? Anyone willing to have a guess?
No, not me.
No.
Thank God. I was really scared that was going to make people go, everyone bloody knows that. No. Okay.
knitting to do while I wait.
For 9 points. Second clue. I was born in Minnesota, USA on October 29th.
No.
Anybody willing to send a thing? No? For 8 points in 1971. Anybody? No. LSD guru Timothy Leary is my godfather, and my middle name Laura is from my parents' friend Laura Huxley, wife of novelist Aldous Huxley.
Oh, it's starting to ring some bells.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
Okay. Question 5 for 5. Clue 5 for 5 points. I'm Jewish, and my family name, but not the name you know me by, is Horowitz.
Oh, I know.
You're gonna fire off your clue. Stella gets to do one later.
Yeah. Hold on.
Dan?
So not the name that they're known by, but their real name.
Their family name is Horowitz.
So no, I have no idea. Sorry.
Do you think I would know this?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I don't think you do. But
I said it for a second there. I felt very confident in Pally. Oh no! You
Shut down.
No chance.
Sorry, I was too busy. Like, this is all like subterfuge and confused by things.
I'm just going to go and have a look on my messenger. Ooh. Okay. I'm not going to say whether you're right or wrong.
Yeah.
Until we get to the end.
Right,
Okay. Question 6 for... Oh, this is for 5 points. In fact, you've got 6 points if you were right, Kirsty. Question 6. I'm an actress. So all that information you've had so far, plus I'm an actress.
Are you looking at me like I should know this answer? Oh, no.
Okay, to run through, I'm named after the town I was born in Minnesota, USA, on October the 29th, 1971. LSD guru Timothy Leary is my godfather. I'm a middle name Laura is from my parents' friend Laura Huxley, wife of novelist Aldous Huxley. I'm Jewish, and my family name, but not the name you know me by, is Horowitz. And I'm an actress. Okay. Next clue. Clue 7 for 4 points. My many film roles include the lead in a 1994 movie based on a novel by Louisa May Alcott, which is described by some as the most perfect Christmas movie ever. Is anyone going to go for it? Out of Stella, Sven, or Dan?
No.
Is Dan going to send me a thing? You only get to guess once.
No.
We'll be miles ahead.
I don't know. This could equal it very quickly.
No. Well, no, I don't think it could.
I had a guess, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, so no.
What we should do, actually, I know this is changing the rules at the last minute. Stella and Kirsty and Dan and Sven, you can all join in, not as a team. So whatever Kirsty scores and whatever Stella scores and whatever Sven scores and whatever Dan scores will all be added on.
Hey? And therefore, what's the point? I don't get it.
No, as in, it's not just the teams. You're now acting individually for these points.
Yeah.
So the
I know
most
what you
each.
mean.
So Sven and I both make different guesses, but each of our answers, the points is added to the team score.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Quality podcasting.
Yeah, I know. Working out the format while we're drinking and recording.
Playing the track.
Yes. So, are you sending me a thing, Dan?
Nope.
No. Okay.
me neither.
I'm just trying to give the sleigh bells a chance to maybe edge in if Stella jumps in with a right answer. But I'm not patronising you in any way. Okay. Next question for 3 points. Next clue for 3 points, if you get it right on this. Another of my films from 1990 features a famous Christmas tree scene and stars my then boyfriend in the lead. Stella, have you had a lot of White Russians?
Yeah.
Because I think you're going to kick yourself once you can use your legs again. What about Dan or Sven?
Yeah.
At the moment, you're on 3 points. And Kirsty may or may not have scored on whatever one it was.
I have 6.
Yes, Kirsty did get it right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all
You
right.
got it on question 5, didn't you?
I thought you weren't going to give that away, Ian. Until
I know,
then.
but
Go on.
yeah.
I'm just
Kirsty
rubbish
got
at
6
this kind of
points.
question. I know that when I find out what it is, I'll realise I should have known it, but I just can't put together these lateral clues. I'm terrible at this kind of thing.
Well, it's good to know that God does not give with both hands, Daniel.
Okay, no one going?
No.
Okay, clue 9. I didn't think it'd get this far.
Is clue 10 just the answer?
No, not quite, but I would have thought Louisa May Alcott would have been the answer, if not all the others. But anyway, this boyfriend had my name tattooed on his body, then altered it after we broke up.
Oh, no, I was right. All
Well,
right.
you should have bloody answered them, shouldn't
Well,
you?
no, it doesn't matter.
Type it in.
We'll go for
Is
it now.
Stella typing it in as well? What about Sven?
Nah. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who anyone is. I don't know people's names.
I
Oh,
like my mum. From podcast down to everyone. Brilliant.
Oh, shit.
Points here as well. Hang on a minute.
Sorry, I don't know.
Right, Sven, being honest, did you see that message?
yes.
Yeah, I did.
You did. Well, this is the last one anyway. After a few years more famous for anxiety, drinking, and accidentally shoplifting, I hit the big time again in 2016 on a hugely popular Netflix series.
Yeah.
Would you have got it
I
from
would
that?
have got it from that one.
I know the answer now. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sent
Stella,
you another answer though.
Did you answer me?
I sent you one privately.
Yeah.
To your
So just
Facebook.
Dan rather sent me in a.
I sent it to everyone in the chat.
Oh, Stella, you've disappointed me.
See, the thought process I went through, I did get it when the Louisa May Alcott clue came up, but I actually haven't seen that version of Little Women, and I thought I was thinking it was Winona Ryder, and then I thought,
Yes.
no, she wasn't in Little Women, she was in The Age of Innocence.
Yeah. Anyway, for the listeners at home, the answer was Winona Ryder.
Oh yeah, sorry.
And Stella, to take the piss, sent me the message. Pamela Anderson. Amazing Little Women.
Because you said that she took the tattoo.
Oh, that. I remember the video.
I don't get that one. That's gone over my head.
Right.
But yeah, Johnny Depp had her name tattooed on
Yes, and then changed it to Wino Forever.
Yeah, when they split. Yeah.
There we go.
Whatever happened to him?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Dan, which one did you answer it on?
Either 2 or 1.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It really was 2, yeah. And Stella didn't. And Sven, are we going to say you would have got it on the last one?
I would have got it on like the
Even Sven. You got it on the last one. So at the end of this quiz, final, it's a little bit closer. So it did what it was supposed to do. 24 for Sleigh Bells.
Hey!
32 for the superior gender.
Thank God.
Hey!
Can I say that out loud?
Pair of single fingers from Stella here.
Okay.
Quite right.
Well, that was fun. So this has been my first time doing a podcast drunk. I think.
Can't tell.
I remember the other one.
Yeah.
No,
How would you know? Yeah. So.
yeah.
Well, that was our first
I love doing
Christmas
quizzes.
special
I really do.
quiz podcast. So
Yeah.
no,
So,
Ian, you're great at it, and
I didn't last 7 hours like at the beginning of lockdown. I did I'll do a quiz, and I think I had people locked in for 7 hours. Too embarrassed to leave.
yeah, we all turned up thinking we were going to do a couple of hours and then go and have our tea, and we ended up spending essentially a full working day doing this quiz until about 2:45 in the morning.
It was good fun, though.
It was great fun. Yeah,
I've had Dungeons and Dragons sessions this Zoom that have this lockdown that have lasted longer on Zoom. I must admit.
wow. Oh well.
Maybe I'm a bit sad.
I've got other friends who play D&D over Zoom. I've never played D&D, and I don't know how you do it over Zoom. But
you just speak. It's just speaking. That's the weird thing.
You need to
playing games is just speaking. Before all these video games came in, it's literally speaking. And occasionally rolling dice.
And then the people are being honest about their dice rolls, because I would totally lie.
Oh no! Well, I'm always the dungeon master anyway, so I always do the dice rolls, and I'm never honest about it anyway, because else they'd all be dead. I'm just a storyteller using the medium of role-playing games to entertain people, actually. So yeah, I just roll and roll and roll, and only when it's really exciting do I put the camera down on the dice. That's how we do it. Anyway,
wow.
I'm already married, so it's fine.
That's the sound of 1,000 breaking hearts.
I know. So you did say, Dan, that
yes,
you were going to get us to do our favourite Christmas horror moments.
Well, I did mention.
I actually prepared. For one time you do something, and I never bloody prepare.
I never mentioned it. Yeah, that's true. But did we all think of something?
No.
Okay.
Your own personal Christmas horror moments.
Well, I mean, or film or song or anything. I kind of imagined it as an introductory thing to get the chat going, but then we didn't really need it, so I never mentioned.
No. I just thought I'd bring it up because I actually prepared. I was going to say the crushing despair and ennui of watching It's a Wonderful Life, which I absolutely love, but I don't know why people say it's a stupid feel-good movie, because it's so depressing. It's amazing. I love it. The bit when he goes, the pitch of despair they get him to when he goes, I don't want plastics. He's literally ready to jump off that bridge.
Yeah,
you're there with him. I don't know why it's got this reputation of being all cozy and listen, mummy, angels get their wings.
Well,
and it earns its ending like no other film. Absolutely, I adore that film, but it really takes you down.
Oh yeah. No, it's only feel good in the last 5 minutes. The rest of it's about a man contemplating suicide. I mean, what do you expect? It's great.
I just think it's quite an unusual film that people that don't really know that much about it kind of go, "Oh, stupid feel good movie."
Oh, and it's probably the title, isn't it? If all you know is the title, you assume that it's a happy film about a wonderful life.
I think we're probably being. Let's get the. How can we get the mood back and still be a horror podcast? What's everyone's favourite top 10 top kills?
Oh my heavens!
I bet everyone's got one. What's your favourite kill in a movie?
Stella, you look ready to say something.
Well, not in a movie, but in the Scream.
In real life?
One that you actually did.
Was this bloke?
And he'd stolen the last bit of hummus. In the Scream TV series, in the first season, there's the bit where she's going to rescue her boyfriend, but she trips the wire, and the bit of farm equipment comes down and slices him in two. And then you see it from the front, and then you see it from the back, and you see him just split in half, and her screaming in the middle. And it was just so unexpected. It's like, what? And it was really, really good. Really, really good.
I love that. Merry Christmas.
Nice.
What about you, Kirsty?
Oh.
What's your favourite kill?
Favourite kill? God. There's a horse in
what?
Tarzan Sings the
Oh,
Cell.
yeah.
A horse.
There's a horse.
Is it really a kill though, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
Kind of
it's a
dreamscape
kind of dreamy kind of thing.
experience.
But there's a horse and it's stood in a room and there's a clock ticking, tick, 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 and kind of. I think Jennifer Lopez is just sort of wandering around the horse, going, "Well, what's the horse doing here?" And then the alarm goes off, and there's these kind of blades come down and then separate the horse into segments.
Nice.
Oh, right. Oh, nice.
Hurst cow.
Yeah.
I was about to say that sounds like a Damien Hirst.
Yeah. And then Brian Fuller, obviously, because we've got to get a reference in.
Yeah. No, I knew this was coming, Kirsty, and it's quite right.
Yeah,
Go
one
for
of the deaths in Hannibal is inspired by that segmentation. And
Right. That's a great death. That was actually my first choice.
Yeah.
Well,
that's your
going to be your death, was it?
Well, I mean, I don't really think I have a favourite death, but because I don't really think of horror in that term in a way. It's more about how it makes me feel. But the kill in Hannibal, which is that Damien Hirst style bisection of a person, is a really great. I mean, that's not the death, is it? You see the aftermath. You don't see that happen, but it's that's really memorable.
What's your favourite post-mortem disfigurement?
Yeah, I think that's my answer. So,
yeah.
So, how about you, Ian?
Do you know what? I don't know. There's so many. Because you mentioned the horse, the first time I saw Apocalypse Now and that cow getting properly twattered.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, which is genuine footage, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's weird because some things get banned and then other things don't.
Yeah.
Like there was a film years ago in Edinburgh, and because it had cockfighting in it, it was banned, and they were like, and it was like they were going to show it, and then the police were like, no, you haven't. We really are going to close this down because it had some real cockfighting in it.
Okay.
And then you can watch Apocalypse Now on Amazon.
Yeah.
And you can watch Walkabout, which has got kangaroos being ripped apart by boomerangs.
Yeah.
It's weird, but yeah, but really creative kills are kind of half the fun.
Yeah.
I think Peter Jackson's Bad Taste has got quite a lot of amazing ones in, where Derek, who I believe is played by Peter Jackson, jumps into the head alien with a chainsaw and slices through his head, and then slices through his body, and then comes out in his groinal area, covered in guts, covered in blood, and then goes, "I'm born again."
Yeah.
And that's quite Christmassy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nativity.
Of course.
That's pretty much how I think that's how Jesus, our Lord, came into the world. Through a chainsaw through Mary's head, and then out through her legs.
It does remind me of Jackson's next film. What was it?
Brain Dead.
Brain Dead. Thank you.
I kick ass for the Lord.
That's just full of great kills, isn't it? And I think I probably would pick the one where the guy has to punch a zombie through the back of the. He goes to punch a zombie at the back of the head, and the fist goes all the way through and comes out the zombie's mouth.
That's pretty cool.
That's
I showed
great.
that to my kids they kind of started watching it on YouTube when they were really young. I thought, well, I better be in the room for this, and they just love the bit where he decapitates a zombie and then chucks it into the blender, and presses the switch.
Right.
Goes,
I think that film still has the award. I think for the most quality splatter content.
Yeah.
It is very, very Christmassy.
So yeah, absolutely, my friends. I think we're coming up to time for this Christmas episode of the podcast. Just before we finish, I do want to make the point. I feel like you guys don't agree, but it seemed to me that a Christmassy horror podcast was a perfect match. I've always found Christmas to be full of horror things, and I just kind of view Christmas as like a longer version of Halloween, basically. And it's to me, it's all about the ghost stories and stuff like that. And I tweeted to this effect last week from the podcast, and a number of people agreed with me, but they might have been scattered to the far corners of the planet. Who knows?
I think in the non-Christian sense of the word, that's probably very true.
Yeah.
It's the darkness, and this is the shortest day, which was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yesterday.
That's the actual Christmas.
So,
Fuck the Nazarene.
yeah, well, yeah. Let's be traditional about this. And I think the BBC kind of agrees with me, because there are tons of ghost story type things on the iPlayer. I'll say this as by way of a recommendation for this week. By the time this episode goes out, the movie Ghost Stories should be on the iPlayer, and several of Mark Gatiss's recent ghost stories will be up there. Yeah. Unfortunately, they haven't made a new one this year, but there has been a global pandemic. So. Yeah.
I'm really excited, in a slightly different tone. Really excited about the Christmas special of Ghosts.
Yes, tomorrow.
Which is just it's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. By the time this is
it's been on.
But yeah.
If you're listening to the podcast. But, yeah.
Is that really a Christmas special, or is it just the last episode of the series?
No, it's a Christmas joke.
No, they made it. I've heard them interviewed. It's a Christmas special, and they recorded it just before lockdown.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Like literally in lockdown. Lockdown happened sort of on their last day, they were saying.
Right.
And then since then they've gone, oh God, this is all really relevant, isn't it?
No.
To being stuck inside and not able to leave your house.
Oh dear. Yeah. Well, that'll be on the iPlayer too then. I've got the whole second series to look forward to. All right, my friends, we've had a quiztastic time. Thank you so much, Ian, for organising all of that. Thank you, Kirsty. Thank you, Stella. And thank you, Ben, for taking part in the fun. We'll be back in the new year, because...
in the new year.
Yeah, good heavens, we'll be back next year, and I don't know what it's going to be about, but we have recorded a whole episode about Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is going to appear sometime soon. I keep teasing it. It's going to happen. I just still haven't edited it. All right. So thank you.
Stars that Winona Ryder that none of you have heard of. Or know anything about. That's from Kirsty.
Yeah. Well, there we go. How ironic. Oh well. So thank you very much, everybody. It's been great fun. Thank you, listeners, for putting up with our nonsense. We'll see you, or you'll hear us in 2021. Bye-bye.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
You have been listening to And Now the Podcast Starts. Produced and released by Ambidextrous Solutions Limited. Presented by Ian Winterton, Kirsty Warrow, T.D. Velasquez, Stella Gaynor, and Howard Whittock. With special guests. Special thanks to Greg Hume for our original theme music, and to Brian Gorman for our original artwork. All dialogue and music clips from films, TV shows, and trailers are used for the purposes of criticism, in the spirit of fair dealing as defined in UK law, and fair use as defined in US law. No copyright infringement is intended. Please visit our home on the web, www.andnowpodcast.com, for more content and contact details. Or visit our Facebook pages, @AndNowPod or @LeeCushingPod. Follow us on Twitter, @AndNowPodcast or @LeeCushingPodcast. If you'd like to donate to us, please visit patreon.com/AndNowPodcast. And now, the podcast stops.